Hello and welcome on Sports Update. I'm Adeniyi Ajishafe. We look at stories trending in the juicy world of sport. As we actually to let you know that Rivers United are right now, they are in Tanzania. But before we talk about Rivers United, let's start with tennis, where a 15-year-old Russian tennis player is doing really well over there in Madrid. Well, Madrid Open, Mira Andreeva beat Beatrice Haddad-Mayer 7-6, 6-3. That's a good one for the Russian, who actually has done well right now for the past 20 years. One of the youngest who have done this against highly rated Beatrice Haddad-Mayer there. For Mira Andreeva, she really came for the game and she did so well winning that encounter against Haddad-Mayer there. Joining me in the studio is Emmanuel Fashemi. Let's talk about Maya there.
Yes, I think I want to play tennis right now.
Because of the lady? Let's go.
Yeah, for Mira, good one for her. If you look at the way the tennis world is built right now, I think the young ones are really pulling weight. We've seen that in the men's version. That is Alcaraz, a 19-year-old who is giving Djokovic a lot of headache right now. Dominic Thiem would have been there, but because of injury. And if you look at Andre Mira, the last time we have someone at this age was in 2000, and for Mira, I think she has come into the world of tennis, and she wants to prove everybody wrong that okay, I can also hold my own. Coco Gauff came at this age. I remember Sharapova in 2004, where she has to beat Serena Williams in Wimbledon final. At what age? And if you look at it right now, Fandi Mira, I think she's having a good run at the Madrid Open. All of these games are for them to prepare well for the Roland Garros that is coming up. I think 28th of May. It is going to kickstart in France, and beating Haddad, a woman who is ranked above her. And Mira came in as a white card. You know, when you came in as a player of a white card, that means you are not classified as the let me say the big girls who are not seeded. They are not seeded, and now a white card player, after beating Lela Fernandez, somebody who came 2021 US Open finalist. So she has beaten another ranked player. Let's see her journey is going to end in her next match. The likes of Anna Sabalenka is still there. Coco Gauff is still there. So let's see what happens. But kudos to her for her to being able to win this particular counter after beating Lela Fernandez.
Now, from let's say from 2000 down to this time, it has been the dominance of when it comes to women. Oh, Serena, Venus, Sharapova, what's her name now? Simona Halep, Caroline Kuznetsova, all of them trying to see who would take over, who will hold it. You know, the more Serena was actually dropping. By now, we ought to have got, okay, this is the new heiress to the throne, but it has not happened. It has been kind of a bit shaky. For the men, you know, Roger Federer and Rafael Nadal took over for Prince Sampras and the other man. But really, if you check the way they dominated, just the way the other two guys left, they too dominated before the emergence of Djokovic, and now Djokovic has been able to hold his own, even though we know that okay, like the young guys are coming, Zverev, all of them are trying to see how they can also battle against him. But at least as somebody you can pinpoint. But for the women, it has not happened.
We would have pinpointed Naomi Osaka if not for that issue surrounding her mental health and issues she has with the government official, and then her mental, and then Peng Xinhua also, who suffered from the government official harassment and whatever, that the case was buried, and that has actually cost a lot. And for it would have been Maria Sharapova, but injury was not helpful, and also issues surrounding her mental health. I think mental health has actually dealt a big blow to the women's tennis, because it is now becoming an issue that these women have to deal with, which has brought their game down. But let's see what Lela Fernandez also would have been another person, but week in, week out, she's there. Ratkanu, at some point, she left tennis and went back. She says she wants to play golf. If not for last year that she came back, and when she was asked on question why did she leave tennis, she says she was not having the best time with her coaches and the rest of them, a lot of pressure. She left and went to golf, but now she's back. I think she's back and playing for Britain again. But at the end of the day, I don't think at this point in time we really have somebody who's going to take over for Serena Williams, because these young players, there's an issue going on with women's tennis, which they need to just watch it out and then find a lasting solution to it. This mental health issue, I think, needs to be dealt with.
Because if you look at it really, gonna those days when you begin to hear names that ring bell in your head. I still remember Caroline Wozniacki, that name alone. You just thought, okay, this particular lady, they were all fighting.
You will know where. In every tournament, you know,
you can predict the last four, the last eight, you know,
where the pendulum is.
Remember what's her name now, Anna Konikova. All of them, they were really forced to. They were really fighting against
Serena Williams. There is okay. Serena Williams will get to the last four. But in the women's tennis right now,
you can't predict who actually
get there. And for the men's tennis, I think Djokovic have had his own, and for Alcaraz is pulling weight. Another person who would have, let me say, who would have been better is Tsitsipas. And then this Australian young man was Kyrgios.
Okay, yes. Kyrgios has been having issue concerning his behavior.
Yes,
that's his own issue.
Temper.
Yes,
will not allow, because he's a very good player. If you watch Kyrgios play, he's a very good player, but he needs to work on his attitude.
Injury didn't help the British player too, Andy Murray. You know, really, it was close. It was very close, but he had to, because of injury and all that. But we've been looking at those names that make tennis so thick all these years, really. But it's getting better now, though we have a lot of young girls out there who are playing tennis, even though you cannot pinpoint who will really be dominating after the force coming from Serena Williams and her sister, Venus Williams there. But right now, the likes of Mira Andreeva could just be the revelation to be discovered. I still remember when Coco Gauff broke out, not forgetting the Japanese lady who also tried her best. But right now, mental health, mental issues really needs to be watched out for there. Now we move away from tennis. Let's talk about football. Rivers United, who lost the first leg in Nigeria 2-0 against Young Africa, the one they call Yanga of Tanzania. They're right now in Dar es Salaam as they prepare for the second leg of the CAF Confederations Cup. Second leg clash against Young Africans. Who will they be able to turn the table? It's a very shocking result to Nigerians, looking at the fact that Rivers United, they did well, defeating Motema Pembe, all of them that came to Nigeria and all that. But this game, they were really kind of carried away or complacent.
Sincerely speaking, it was let me say a sweet bitter taste that Yanga, I've got them Yanga, they came here and do us Yanga and left with 2 goals. In the first half of that game, I followed it keenly. It was a goalless draw. I said, okay, Rivers United will maybe in the second half up their game and then maybe get the goals or at least get a goal. They were very wasteful. I will tell you the truth. I saw clips of that game. Rivers United were wasteful, and these young lads
they took advantage of the chances they had,
and 2 goals from 60-something minutes. They got the first goal. Before you know, in a space of I think in space of 5 to 8 minutes, the second goal came in, and that was it. They closed up shop, and Rivers United I was playing as if there was nothing at stake. Okay, Stanley Neguma after that game is post conference match pre-match this thing. He said they were suffering from fatigue. Fine, we can accept that. But you should also have a game plan. In the first half, I expected Stanley Neguma in the second half, take your chances, just as in change the pattern of the game.
Okay, those players that, okay, you said because of fatigue, right? Not the entire squad that will be fatigued.
At all.
So pick those players that you know that, okay, they can still carry on. Get those that are yet to play. Let them start the first half and see the energy that they will
put in
together. Before then, okay, the second half, if you can't get a goal in first half, then the second half you begin to plan. You understand? But now you say fatigue. What happened? You play the same player who actually get fatigued, and they got tired, and young Africans took advantage of that. And a particular player, Faustino or thereabouts, scored a brace against.
Sincerely speaking, it was heartbreaking for me when I saw the result. I said, no, this is not.
How heartbreaking were you? You were still able to eat some food.
I don't know. I was able to eat, but the result didn't go down well with me for Rivers United, because they are the only team we have left in the continent who would have expected get to the semi-final.
I can imagine what happened in the dressing room that night.
I think that night, Salim Eguma was mad, even though we were not there, but we got some feelers. He was mad. I believe they can turn the tables around. They did it, and they can still do it again.
And looking at the fact that it was in Nigeria,
that is the painful part of it.
You understand? How many kilometers away or hours away from home, from Port Harcourt?
They had the stadium packed full. Your fans were there.
They came to support them,
and River State, it is just, I think I've been in that, I spent about 5 years in that Azix. It's about 5 hours drive from Port Harcourt to Yo. It's not that too far, and you have these guys at your own home ground missing couple of chances. I watched closely 3 clear-cut chances that Rivers United would have buried and just get 3 goals, but they were wasteful in front of goal. I believe maybe as they are going for the return leg right now, they should take all their chances. I see Rivers United turning the tables around. Let's see, maybe they will be able to turn the table around, because it's a big one for them. A Kulian task, if you ask me, for Rivers United to turn the table against their young Africans who will be playing over there in Dar Salam, their own home, against Rivers United, who will be fighting hard to see how they can turn things around in the 2-0 that they are trailing young Africans. CAF Confederation, that's the only team left, and we just hope that they can win 3-0, and at least, who knows, maybe they can make it in that particular game. Now, let's talk about the Under-17 AFCON that will be starting on Sunday. Well, Nigerian darling team, the Golden Eagle, will be playing against Zambia to open it. But right now, Morocco is also in the group with Nigeria and South Africa. News came out earlier that they might not be participating due to the issue of airspace between Algeria and Morocco. There has been a spat between the two countries, but now that has been settled between CAF president, right now, who has actually discussed with the Morocco Football Federation president concerning the airspace being open for them to jet in straight down to Algeria. Constantine, precisely, at least a good news. A good news, but whatever bilateral issues the two countries have should not be brought into football. We saw that with Indonesia, where FIFA has to strip them off the hosting of Under-20 World Cup. I think CAF also should, because Morocco is now becoming, they want to dictate the pace for African football. You don't do that. If you have...
Because I remember Chan. During Chan, they did the Algeria airspace was not open for them. They couldn't come in. A lot of issues here and there, and they actually opted out.
They pulled out. Now Under-17, they want to also pull out. You don't do that. You don't say because you have, will I say, the financial backing or whatever, and you start seeing yourself. A lot of issues surrounding this whole thing. But all I want to say, Morocco should not bring in some kind of issues into African football. Politics does not work.
Maybe you should mention the two of them. Both of them, Algeria and Morocco.
They should keep aside their bilateral issue and allow
this is football. This is
sport to breathe, football to breathe, because this is something that unifies people. So you shouldn't deprive people of the love, that fun, that entertainment they want to see because you have issues. No.
At least we've seen, I know when it comes to diplomatic or bilateral issues, you can't take it away from US, Iran, Iraq. They still play at the World Cup.
But in the World Cup, US and Iran played. They were in the same group. So we shouldn't allow our, let me say, our bad feelings about one person.
And these are African nations.
So CAF, I think CAF should come out with a very stiffer sanction, and so that it can serve as a deterrent to others. If you take this step, this is what will happen to you.
We will no longer take that, taking it at least optional from competition. That would be a good one if CAF can actually find a way to work on that particular situation. Now we move away from Africa. Let's talk about international football. We talk about Coppa Italia, where Fiorentina did well. They were able to defeat Cremonese. Right now they'll be facing Inter Milan in the final after progressing on a 2-0 aggregate against Cremonese there. Well, Fiorentina Inter for final. Big one.
Yes, I think they've won this trophy, Fiorentina, 6 times. They've won the Coppa Italia trophy, and they will be looking to make it the 7th one. But will Inter Milan allow them, because Inter has not smelled this trophy for the past 4 seasons right now, and they really want to win it and then make a statement. But at the end, for Cremonese, I just felt for them because they've been brilliant in this in the Coppa Italia. They were the one that defeated they defeated Napoli. They pursued Napoli from the Coppa Italia, and not that alone, they also defeated AS Roma. They were the one that sent AS Roma packing from Coppa Italia, and now they've made their own hard match. And for Fiorentina, well, against Inter Milan is a very big task for Fiorentina. I can tell you this, because they know the league is out of their grasp. So they have set their sight on, okay, let's get to the Champions League final and then see how we can maybe win this. At least with these 2 trophies that they have in their front, they will want to win one.
Well, from the way it is right now, the battle line has been drawn between Inter Milan, the Nerazzurris, and the Fiorentina team. That will be coming up at the Stadio Olimpico in Rome for the final of Coppa Italia. Well, that will be a big one there between Inter Milan and Fiorentina. Anytime these 2 teams meet, it's already fire cracking match. From there, let's talk about fixtures slated for tonight across differently over there in Europe. Let's look at the Friday fixtures as we talk about those matches coming up. Osasuna will be against Real Sociedad, where right now they are still missing the Nigerian player. Talking about Sadiq Umar, who is still nursing that injury, although he said he doesn't even know when to come back. Well, you have Bochum T40 against Borussia Dortmund, Udinese away to Lecce, and Spezia hosts Monza, Lyon to Strasbourg. Those are the games coming up this evening. Well, from the way it is, if you look at it, Real Sociedad against Osasuna, you want to tilt towards Real Sociedad.
I would want to tilt towards Real Sociedad because they lost their a previous game before the last one they played, and now they also want to hold their own against Osasuna. They will be playing away, and the likes of Iago Aspas and the rest of them, we want to also continue making a statement. Real Sociedad is fighting it hard to push and see if they can get, because they were in the same group with Manchester United in the Europa League, and they want to come back to Europe. And
well, I'm sure to some extent too they'll be missing Sadiq Umar.
Yeah, they'll be missing Sadiq Umar as he stands. He has said he doesn't know when to come back, though I think the injury has a lot of improvement. All he needs is just process, fitness, and we know we cannot have him this season anymore. He's going to prepare himself for next season, which is going to be a good news for Real Sociedad and then Super Eagles.
Now, let's talk about Bochum 18-14 against Borussia Dortmund. Dortmund this season, they put on a very good fight against the Bayern.
Do you know why Dortmund is having it good this season? Because Bayern is not playing well. If Bayern is playing well, they will not even
always play well.
they will not be where they are. But it's a good one. After Bayern lost over the weekend, they won their own match and they've toppled Bayern from the top of the table. And they want to extend that league, and Bochum himself is also fighting it out there. They are not in a place where it's so comfortable for them, but for Borussia Dortmund, they want to extend that lead and hopefully pray for Bayern to not to get the result they would desire or desire this weekend.
Well, if you look at German football, you always know that yes, Bayern, they are the dominant force. You can't take anything away from them. But I think it's high time the authorities there, they should look at what can we do to balance the papers here, where Bayern will not have that dominant over other teams, because it's very glaring, just like the way it is in France. It's very glaring that no matter how good you are as a team, Bayern will come, get your players to fortify themselves, and next season you are down, you are weaker. Compared to the way you played last season. That's what's happening. Even if you manage yourself to win, maybe you struggle. I remember Wolfsburg, if you check
of course.
at the season of Wolfsburg, check Offenheim, check Schalke 04, immediately they notice that, okay, this season you actually give us a tough time. They are coming in to get 2 or 3 solid players from your team.
And I think for the past 4 seasons, they've been doing that too. Not even 4 seasons. almost 5 seasons now.
From the beginning of the Bundesliga.
They've been doing that to Borussia Dortmund, and Borussia Dortmund is the one that normally suffer it most. Before you know it, they will come for your player. I know Götze left that place, and a lot of players. It's only this young man that didn't realize that has not really given them that chance to take him.
Well, right now, just before we go, let's run through some transfer stories. Real Madrid officials to convince Borussia Dortmund midfielder, talking about Jude Bellingham, to join the club. Right now, a lot of news here and there concerning Jude Bellingham there. Manchester United midfielder Casemiro is a summer transfer target for Bayern Munich. Well, Thomas Tuchel is coming from for the Brazilian Casemiro. Ralf Rangnick urged Julian Nagelsmann to become the next Tottenham boss. Well, I've been talking to him, take over Tottenham, even though you can, if you cannot get Chelsea, go to Tottenham Hotspur.
I think Tottenham Hotspur would be good for him. And the two options, Chelsea or Tottenham Hotspur, I said this on this show before, that if he doesn't go to Chelsea, then probably Tottenham would be another good place for him. But there is a toxic atmosphere in Tottenham, so he needs to deal with that first. Then he can have his.
And you want him to go to the toxic place? What's your way to?
No, he can.
That will be it on Sports Update anyway. Manuel Fashimi, thanks so much.
It's been my pleasure.
Adeniyi Ajisafe, thanks for watching.